Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about, does no contact make them miss you? So yes, no contact will make them miss you, but only if they still care about you. Only if they still deep down want to be with you, still have romantic feelings towards you. Okay? There's no way of knowing for sure, obviously, without mind reading. Okay? So in the meantime, it's best that you move on, okay? Because you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know if they're going to come back or not. You don't know if no contact is going to work on them or not, okay? Unless you are like 100% sure that they're in love with you. And if you're not sure that they're still in love with you, then there's no way of knowing for sure if they're going to come back, okay? So in the meantime, it's best to move on. So you go into no contact, especially if you were the one that got dumped, right? If you're the one that got dumped, then there's really nothing you can do, right? It's completely out of your hands. If they decided to leave, then it has to be their decision to come back, which is why you give them the space, you go into no contact, you're not speaking to them at all, right? And you're also not engaging with them whatsoever on social media. You're not commenting on their stuff, you're not liking their stuff, you're not watching their stories or anything like that, retweeting their tweets. You're not doing anything like that at all, okay? So if, for example, though, you were the one that did the dumping and you have yet to apologize for that and own up to your mistake, then you need to do that. Okay, if you was the one that did the dumping, then you need to go to your ex, if you haven't already, and say, look, I think breaking up with you was too much of a harsh decision. When are you available to have a chat, to have a catch up, right? And then try to reconcile things with them. You have to own up to your mistake if you dumped someone out of rage and now you're regretting it, okay? If you've already said sorry for it, if you've already offered them the olive branch and they've said no, then you can go into no contact and apply the no contact rule, okay? So in the meantime, you have to move on, right? If someone has dumped you and they're no longer interested, you have to move on because you don't know if they're going to come back. So it's best not to just be sitting there waiting by your telephone or crossing the days off of your calendar, hoping that they're going to reach out to you, because you do not know. So you have to assume that they're not coming back and move on from there, okay? So one of the ways that you can move on is obviously by going into some sort of like counseling or therapy if you went through a particularly traumatic time in this relationship. Or it could be if it was like a very short-term thing, like let's say you was only together for under a year, then you may not need that much time. You may not need much time to heal or get over it, depending on the severity of what happened in that relationship, okay? But if you're together for a year or multiple years, then I suggest you take a good amount of time out to focus on you, to do your own thing for a while, at least a year or a year and a half, if it was for a year or multiple years, okay, that you were single. And what I mean by that is that don't start dating until a year has gone by or a year and a half. If it was a shorter relationship, then like less than a year, then wait about 6 months before you start dating again, okay, and start meeting new people. Give yourself time to heal, move on from it, get over it, so you can get yourself right mentally again, okay? Get back on your game, basically. Because sometimes when you go for a breakup, it can be a very turbulent time. And if you got dumped, especially, it really knocks your self-esteem. It doesn't feel good to get dumped. You feel unlovable. You feel just horrible about yourself, basically. So, you need to have some time to just heal and get over that and to raise your self-esteem again. So how can you do that? So one of the questions I ask people is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What kind of body would you like to have? What kind of house would you like to live in? What kind of income would you like to be having? What would you like your job to be like? How would you like to spend your weekends, right? What would you like your daily routine to look like? Ideally, if you could have it any way that you want it. And you write all that down, and then you write out some action steps that you can take every single day to help you get towards those goals, okay? And when you start, working on these things, start making progress on these things that are really important to you, really important to your goals, you're going to feel really good about yourself. Okay, it's like that Dale Carnegie quote that I use all the time, which is, inaction breeds doubt and fear, action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it, go out and get busy. So if you want to feel more confident in yourself, if you want to have a little bit more courage in your life, then take action on your goals. Don't just sit there and do nothing. Don't just sit there and play video games. Don't just sit there and watch Netflix all day. Do something. Do something productive that will make you feel good about yourself. Because by doing action and taking action, and you see yourself making progress and you're ticking off your to-do list every single day, you're going to feel really good about yourself. Okay? You're going to feel more confident about yourself. You're going to feel like you're actually moving towards something really important, right? And what's amazing about this is that even if you don't reach those 5-year goals, you're still going to be way ahead of many people that have not made any goals, who haven't worked towards any of their goals. Okay? And what's really cool is that it's not necessarily, reaching the goal, right? It's not necessarily reaching those goals. It's all about the person that you will have to become in order to reach those goals and building that person up. Because if you've got some really big audacious goals for the next 5 years that you'd like to accomplish by 5 years, then you've got to probably do a lot of different things. You've probably got to expand your knowledge. You've probably got to get fitter and healthier. You've got to develop some new habits. You've probably got to develop your character, right? As in like, having, being able to have good communication with other people, having self-discipline that can really build character, those kinds of things. So it's not so much achieving the goals, but the person that you become in order to achieve those goals that is really, really exciting. And what's great about that is that you'll be able to attract so much more high quality partners in the future if you start becoming that person, right? That person who can achieve those goals, right? And then your ex will just be some blip in your history, basically, okay? So create a 5-year plan for yourself, figure out what you would like your life to be like in 5 years' time, and then create a little to-do list that you can do every single day that can help you reach those goals. So if you've got like a weight loss goal, or maybe it's a weight gain goal, perhaps you want to gain some muscle, then you need to write down some action steps that you can do every day to help you achieve that. If you want to earn a certain amount of money, then perhaps you need to be, sending out your CV to different jobs, or resumes to different jobs each day. Or perhaps you want to work at the same company, so you're working on developing your skills so you become more valuable, so that your company will pay you more money. Or perhaps you want to become self-employed and you start a side business, right? And then you're trying to make that side business become your full-time thing in 5 years' time, or something like that. So figure out what action steps you need to do to make these dreams of yours a reality that you can work on every day, okay? So another thing though as well, and this is really important, and I've already touched on it a little bit, which is give yourself time before dating again. So like I was saying, if it was only with them for like under a year, then you'll probably only need about 6 months before you start dating them again, depending on how turbulent that relationship was. Sometimes even short relationships can be very dramatic, can be very draining, and sometimes we may need a little bit more extra time. But as a rule of thumb, 6 months should be enough if it was just like a regular fling, okay? But if it was a relationship that was over a year or multiple years, then I recommend taking a year or a year and a half out before dating again. And one of the things that you can do is you can fill in your knowledge gaps about dating and relationships. So those things, so you basically can attract a higher quality person, a new, better partner. So, for example, perhaps you don't really know how to communicate with the opposite sex. Perhaps you don't know how to, talk to them or understand them. So I highly recommend that you go and check out the recommended books that I have in the description of this video. You don't have to buy them through those links, but if you do, I will get a small commission and it will help my channel out. But if not, alternatively, you can just write down the names of those books and get them at your local library, or find a cheaper version of them online somewhere, okay? So that should really help as well, help you with filling in your knowledge gaps about dating and relationships. There's 5 books there that are solely about dating and relationships, and there's another 5 about personal success and achievement, that I believe that if I could just download all of that information and just insert it into every one of my viewers and clients' brains, I feel like that would solve so many of their romantic problems and all the problems that they're having with their own personal success. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.